What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Can you guys hear me? Sorry that was like that. Give me one moment. Let me get this, and we're gonna get into it. I gotta log in real quick. Also, give me 1 second. All I gotta do is bring up my charts. Oh, they're already up. Good stuff. All right, cool. We're good. How you guys doing tonight? So what I'm gonna do is what I want to start out with. I don't know how the stream was when I started it. So if you're just joining or you were here, sorry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some charts and I'm going to get ready for tomorrow. If you guys want to get ready too. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. If you have any tickers you guys want to go over, throw them in the chat. If you guys have any thumbs, you can throw them in the chat. Actually, you could hit that like button for me. That'd be really cool, man. Come on, let's have a good time. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so. The market pretty much closed where we opened, and I kind of thought that. I wasn't sure how we were going to do it, but we did it the opposite way of what I thought. And I can see why, because we have a very clear pennant being put in right here. So if you guys just bear with me 1 minute, what I'm going to do is, we don't know what news we're going to wake up to, right? So some of these stocks may not be in play. I want to start off with a lesson first, because I think that's the most important thing, is to help provide value, okay? So give me just 2 seconds here. And it'll take me just a sec to get set up because I kind of just threw this stuff together. So if you are watching this later on, just fast forward through it. It should only take me a minute. All right. Actually, let's do this. I don't need to even worry about this right now, but I'll just do it for the viewing pleasure. All right. Let's see here. Boom. Got that. Let's get this. I got a lot of stuff going on here, so I do apologize. Boom. Boom. Let's do it. I hope you guys had a wonderful day today. I hope you guys had a great day. If you didn't, look for the positives. You have to. Don't just live in this, spiraling, depressional, whether it's because you had bad trades, or didn't make as much as you wanted. You had a great day. Even better if you had a great day. If you had a bad day trading like me, just look at what you did. Were you rushing? Were you not in the right areas? Were you not ready like me? I was ready to be all over Rivian, but I had a stream to do that I should have not been doing. I should have, focused in and said, yo, I got to get my charts set up. I got to do this. I got to do that because what up, Collins? How you doing, bro? How you been doing, buddy? Haven't talked to you in a couple days. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if there's any news or anything. I feel like AMD has a lot of buyers down it. Let me make sure my charts are all good real quick. I feel like AMD still is going to have a lot of buyers, but it can just sit there and float between this level that it's at, right? I want to get into a lesson. So again, if you're watching this back, just fast forward, okay? Fast forward it. I need 2 seconds. Literally. Like 2 seconds times 20. Almost done. Come on. Okay. All right. Got that. Got that. I just had to get my other stuff going on here. All right. I want to go into a lesson. And I always say this for a reason. I'm going to do it because it's going to help me out. So, if you could, take the time to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so. The stream's going to get a lot more in focus. I just want to make sure my screens are okay. Let's see here. Let me slide this over a little bit to make sure we're Gucci, which we should be just about. If not, right there, right? We're good. We should be good. We should be good. Good deal. All right. So look, I always say this, and it doesn't have to be every day, right? I always say you want to have a technical setup. You want to look for news. Ultimately, those two things, and for whatever reason, whether it's like a geopolitician, like the government shutdown, right? You could probably pretty much trade any of the major names that are in the markets, right? Because of an issue that's going to affect the whole market in variety. But if you come into a day like today where the SPY closed where it opened and just pulled back only to run itself right back up, which I was in 425 calls, and I'm like, bro, I know we're going up. I know we are. But again, we're playing options, so you have to time it. If you take anything from this stream, picture me telling you this every single time when you go to make a trade. Why are you trading it? Are you trading it just to trade? Or do you have a real technical setup on why you're trading it? If you're going to scalp and be in for just a few minutes and you're only looking for $1 or $2 just to make a trade, to make a buck, okay. Hopefully you're a seasoned professional and you know what you're doing. But if you're not, okay, I want you to seriously start shifting focus and keep in your mind every morning, if you have to get sticky notes, grab sticky notes, right? You want to put yourself in the best position possible. And what does that mean? Well, how do I put myself in the best position possible? Well, you need to find liquidity, right? Where is the liquidity going to be? If we have no news like today, we have a big event tomorrow. So let's just go say, was there any news with Tesla today? From what I know, there wasn't. Okay, so if I pull up a 5-minute chart of Tesla, and for anybody watching Tesla that did not, so if you don't know this, we trade Monday through Friday live right here, 7:30 to 4. All right, this stream is going to start getting a lot better. We're going to start getting a lot of good content out. We are going to actually put meaningful stuff that looks appealing, I guess, to eyes. Right, I'm making a change here, right? Yesterday morning and Wednesday morning, today's Thursday, so yesterday and Tuesday, if you joined us in chat, right here on YouTube, all you got to do is hit that like button and subscribe. I said Tesla is going to make a move. Tesla had a technical setup. Let's go to the daily chart. All right, and I said this, and we could go back to the beginning of the week. We could go back to last week that I said I felt like oil was going to pull back. What did you get out of oil yesterday and not? Well, yeah, yesterday and today. More so yesterday. You could have taken that oil from the information that I had given you just because I didn't trade it. You could have said, hey, he thinks oil is going to pull back, right? He's feeling a pullback in oil that it's overdone, right? Have you seen it? I mean, we could just pull up like XOM, right? Look at this daily chart. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. Gave you that. I gave it to you last week, so you could have been in up here, right? You could have did XLE, whatever. You could have just known. I don't care if it was USO. I don't care what it was. And look at the target. You guys remember putting this target up there? Look how far I wasn't off, right? Look at the timing that we weren't off because we measured these moves. That's one thing I haven't done. This is why I say and stress that as a trader, we're going to veer off. We're going to come into the day-to-day things, and we need to rewind after every week, once or twice, at least once a month. You have to rewind because you're going to find yourself doing things and falling off the path from not sticking to the script, right? We need to come in. We need to check the news, right? We check the news. Is there anything going on? Any sectors, any type of news that could provide us liquidity? Okay. Then we need to say, okay, What do we think is going to happen with the overall markets today? Where are yields? Okay. Where are the 2s, 10s, and 30s trading? You should always know roughly where about, like, what's going on. Where is the VIX? Okay. And what do you think the SPY and the Dow and the overall markets are going to do that day? Right? Maybe there wasn't a big enough move today that you could have avoided having a losing trade because the markets weren't going to do much today. But if you went to you went to where the news was, you could have had 20, 30% down stocks. All right. So this is why I'd ask, if you could do me the honor to pass this video along to somebody who really wants to take their trading to the next level. And guys, we don't charge anything. The only thing we charge here is likes. If you could like this stream and subscribe, what it would do would help me get to the person that would like to be here, put in the work, and help, build their net worth and just get better at managing risk. At the end of the day, that's what we do. So coming in the day, every day, we should have a planned game plan as far as how we go about trading the markets. How will we go about, where are we going to trade? Why are we going to trade it? I have fallen off that horse, right? I've gotten myself with so much stuff going on, and as day to day things go, and as things change, I start changing, right? So we have to dial it back. We got to bring it back in. All right? Where's the news? Or what is the news? Is there anything worth looking at and playing? 2, where are the markets? Where are yields? Where are the VIX? What do we think is going to happen with the market? Are we just going to have an inside out day because we have big data points tomorrow? That's what happened today. All right? So if we get these feelings that we have oil overdone, let's jot it down that's in our mind on a piece of paper or whatever, and say, I want to look at oil and keep that in the back of my mind. Set an alert might not be enough. Let's take that pen and paper and let's put it down so that when we come into the day, we're going to see it in the morning, we're going to see it at lunch, and we're going to see it at night, so we keep it drilled in our mind. All right? We're going to watch the solar sector. We're going to watch oil or whatever it is, right? Consumer discretionaries or consumer defensives on fire because the war, or is not on fire because the war is just over with. They came to an agreement. Something, right? I failed to write down that I've been feeling a big pullback on oil. Did I even just go as far as putting on a small position for like a month out? I didn't. Why didn't I? Because I need to dial it back in. I'm going about my day-to-day things with trading, the stream, and everything else. I got to dial it in. This is why my performance hasn't been where it should be this week, right? Because I've fallen off the path, right? I did miss a trade today, and I did call it out, right? I did call it out. That was Rivian, right? And that's my own fault because I was not ready and prepared, right? You could have got this if you were with us this morning. You could have got it really early. I gave you my targets. I gave you everything that I wanted to see. This could have made your month. This stock is down 22.88% on the stock alone. On the stock alone. Right? I mean, ask yourself, were you looking at Rivian? There was a big catalyst for Rivian's downside today. Issuing, I think, what was it? Issuing issuing, and then coming in saying that third quarter guidance is going to be down low, like they don't expect much. On a stock that has already been overbought, like I don't know what. That is the perfect short. The company is coming out saying, hey, things aren't looking too good. We may need capital, right? Rates are really high where they're at. We'll probably be in a state where we're not going to sell any more vehicles. Things could get bad. We're a new company. We don't have much revenue, right? And it must be that bad for the company to come out and say it. So if you didn't go through the news, you wouldn't have known about Rivian. What you could have done is join us in the morning and we go through the news and we kind of see where we want to be, right? How are we going to play this? Where do we want to play it? What I wanted to see was a pullback. And the thing is during pre-market, they didn't really sell this thing off like I thought they would. I kind of thought that this trade might be taken away from us and that we might have to wait for a bounce back. All right. This morning, I was too busy trying to set up my charts. And guess what? I missed it. My own fault. I missed it. I could have had a wonderful day today and traded this in the morning and been done by 10:30, 11 o'clock. I could have probably been done by 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? I could have taken this first 20 minute of price action, right, on a 3-minute chart and said, I've already beaten my expectation for the day. I'm just going to leave a piece or two on. I'm so far in the green on this trade that it's paid for the trade plus a humongous amount of profit. A member in chat got it though, because he was in here, whether or not he was looking at it before or not. But he's a trader that I know he is, and what he does is he tries to not fall off the horse too, right? And that's going through the news, having a reason to be in a trade. Because if I said I wanted to trade Nvidia today, right, especially if you're an options trader, let's look at Nvidia. You wouldn't have made any money. You could have made how are you going to make money, especially on a weekly, when the stock's going up and down, 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 and it's just eating the premium away on purpose. There's no reason to be in Nvidia. Why is there no reason to be in Nvidia? Because we didn't think the markets were going to move that much today. Yes, I thought they were going to go up, but they had to go down first, right? They had to go down first. And my plan of action with the SPY this morning, because I needed to bring it back in, is I shouldn't even have been trading the SPY. First off, I had my thoughts. You could have had a nice trade here off the short. They did give you that. But you also got to worry, how much do these pullbacks, and look, 3, 6, 9, 12, right? 15, 18. That's nearly 20 minutes of price action that you're not getting paid for because the stock's not moving. Just because the stock doesn't go down doesn't mean you're going to get paid in options, right? We'll help you try to put you in the right place for that. And we said this morning, there's your test of VWAP. Bang, drop, right? That's a consolidation. Pull VWAP down to it, turns it into resistance, right? So down here is where I got long, as a matter of fact. I waited. I was patient. Right here. And guess what? I got this down. I got that second pullback into that level because that was my game plan. That if I got a pullback into that level, I was going to take a long. What did I do? It happened and I wasn't fully prepared. Why was I not prepared? Well, for one, I got 30-some% on it on a green trade that went red. All because I'm sitting here thinking, hey, like, I don't want this trade to be up where I think it's going to go, and that's 426 area, right? So thinking that non-farm payrolls and unemployment is tomorrow and thinking, hey, I went about it the wrong way. I didn't know if we were going to get a bounce and then a sell-off. Now, usually what would happen is we'll probably sell off to price in bad news tomorrow. So if you have data sets the next day, you want to say, how is the market going to price it in? Is it going to price it in for worse or for good? It's probably going to price it in for worse because, one, it's non-farm payrolls and unemployment. Well, initial jobless claims have already told us that the labor market's as tight as it can be, right? Week after week after week, it hasn't been looking good that the labor market is softening, right? CPI. We are not worried about CPI right now. We know where it's going to be. The thing is we don't. There should not be a surprise with CPI. If it comes in a little bit higher, right in line, we doubt it's going to come in lower, right? So where's the surprise? ADP. Why did we move? What was it? Tuesday or Wednesday? You got the surprise. The surprise was the ADP employment report. Higher for longer. Jackson Hole. Let me take it back. So Jackson Hole. The thing that is on the Fed's mind is the labor market. They have to soften the labor market to cool the demand, right? It feels like they're not okay with prices just being high. They want prices to come down, it sounds like. All right. The only thing that they were concerned about, and you got all the Fed speakers, was unemployment. We need to get the labor market to soften to help ease inflation. Okay, prices have went up. They've just stayed where they are. Now you have different things, whether it's because of policy or not. Okay, a lot of the stuff that the government is doing isn't helping the Fed. That's a fact. All right, but the Fed is saying, okay, if we can't control that, what is something we can control? We can control the labor market. I'm telling you guys, every day if you get a data point, take notice on how the market moves or doesn't move, and that is going to relate to you what the market cares about. We're going to get volatility for CPI and PPI. If it comes in a little bit above, then yeah, we're higher for longer. We're going to pull back, right? Let's look at this move real quick. This is a 6-point move from high to low. The numbers came out at 10, so where are we at 957? Right there. From high to low, this was a decent move. That's a 1.4% move. That's a 1.5% in the S&Ps that we haven't really been getting. You know, we've been getting like 0.7, maybe 0.8, which is decent. But we got a 1.5% on that day because there was a surprise in something that the market cared about. Now, if you want to tack into where we closed the day before, that's a whole nother ballgame. You're talking 2%, damn near 1.8% from high to low, from close to low, right? And I just went to here, not down here, mind you. So ask yourself, do you think CPI and PPI is going to be big enough and come in higher enough to move the markets that we aren't already expecting because energy is up, meat prices are up? I've showed you guys that. Yeah, they'll probably be up a little bit, right? They'll probably be up a little bit. But everything that I've seen from grocery stores and stuff like that, it may differ across the United States. I don't think that the market, it's not that the market doesn't care about CPI. I just think the task at hand is the labor market. And it is obviously a fact because you just got a 2% move off the ADP employment number. Okay? So if you guys continue to hear people talk about CPI and PPI, and not mention the labor market, you should probably help them and say, you need to listen to the Fed because the only thing that's on the Fed's mind is the labor market right now. They're worried about how long they're going to have to keep yields up before it's like it becomes an issue where they're trying to balance throwing the economy into a recession and a bad recession or just having a slight pullback. They're trying to balance that. But if they continue to see these numbers go and go and go, and it's like, hey, 0 to 5.5% ain't doing nothing, and we're 2 years in. Because listen, we still have 3% interest rates to filter through the system if you believe in like a 12-month or 18-month cycle, right? What's your time lag? You going to give it 2 years? Okay, go back 2 years. Where was Fed funds rate? Okay, and then where are we at now? 5.5. Let's just say we were at 2, 5.5 right now. Okay, what is that? 3, 4, 5.5. That's how much you still have to filter through, right? You're pretty much saying you got about 3.5, 4.5% to go. If you're on a 12-month basis, like a 12-month basis, right? We'll say we have 2% left to go, 2.5% of interest rates to filter through. We may have to do higher for longer. So we had this range here, and again, I'm going to go over some charts and stuff like that. We don't know what news we have coming up as far as what we'll wake up to. But again, I'm doing this because it's going to help me, but I want to help you guys, right? If you guys feel like you're falling off the horse and you find yourself getting upset in the afternoons and like, man, listen, embrace the fact that you're getting upset, but know it. Be like, look, I'm getting upset right now. How is this going to help me tomorrow by me being upset and worrying about today? Today is gone and done with. Let's just go back. Let's look to see what we did wrong, and we're going to move forward. Right? Were we just trading to trade? Were we just trading the wrong names that we shouldn't have been trading? Are we not worried about what the market's worried about? Right? The market's already we're at the 200-day moving average. This turquoise square here is the 200-day moving average. Where's the 100-day? It's nowhere in sight. Where's the 50-day? Well, again, nowhere in sight. Way up here. 440s. They're at the high 437, 440s, and we're sitting way down here at 420. Now we are what? We are in an uptrend. Okay? We are in an uptrend. That is a fact. We have put in a higher low. Right? Tomorrow is going to be a day of reckoning for the market, I feel like. Which we already are expecting that, it's going to come in the labor market's tight. We know that. All right? We know the labor market's tight. It's just what comes out, right? Is it bigger than what's expected to crack the 200-day moving average, or are we just going to pull back to 420, 418 again and put a double bottom at the 200-day and wait for maybe CPI, PPI, see if it gets better? Because listen, right now the market's battling a bunch of things. The market's battling a future sell-off for the government, which we can't say it's a future sell-off because we don't know if they're going to come to a deal or not. All right, so we're battling inflation. We're battling trying to get the labor market to soften a bit. Okay, possible government shutdown. Guys getting thrown out of the whatchamacallit. There's still a war going on. Okay, there's madness in D.C. We need some good news to get this market going. We do. We need to start seeing some signs of the light at the end of the tunnel. We need to start seeing that. All right. But what we will also do is say, hey, we do have a higher low in on the S&Ps. All right. So that's what I want to talk to you about first. The labor market tomorrow. Big day tomorrow. So we're going to go through charts. We're just going to go through the big names or whatever you guys have. Answer any questions that you guys have. I'm Justin, by the way. I've been trading for close to 10 years now. I'm pretty good at least making calls in the markets and picking directions. Very good at that. Got to get better at, understanding when I'm off the horse and getting back on it. Right? This week hasn't been the best week for me because I haven't gotten back to what works, right? I have to do this every month. And listen, you're going to notice and find yourself doing the same thing that you're like, what's going on? What is going on with me? It's probably because you're not focusing and just following the map, right? Which is, what's the news? How do we interpret the news? And what am I expecting from the markets? If I'm not expecting a big move from the markets, why am I going to waste money on random trades? It's probably a day you sit on your hands if there's no news and the market's probably just going to trade sideways, or look for 50-cent, dollar-cent trades. Look to get in, maybe get out, maybe not, maybe sit on your hands. And because news could come out during the trading day, right? Maybe you find a technical setup, right? So this is a reminder to you to when you come in the morning, and this is to help me too. When I come in the morning, I need to say, where are yields? Where's the market? Where are yields? And let me add in the dollar. We need to know where the dollar is also and what the dollar's doing as far as what does the chart look like? Because that could probably tell us if we think it's going to go higher or lower. Therefore, if it's going to pull back, then, you may get that bounce in the markets. But is it just going to be just a small pullback and the market's just trading sideways and you just got to, scalp your bounces, right? Or you don't trade. Make it easier on yourself. Listen, money saved is better than money being lost. Okay? So let's start with that. We're going to get into some charts. If you guys have any questions about that or understanding what I'm saying, I hope I'm coming off clear. But to my thoughts are the market, and from Jackson Hole till now, the market's been worried about the labor market. We know about CPI, we know about PPI, but guess what? Year over year, month over month, it's still coming down. And the Fed watches PCE anyway, right? You want to more so focus on PCE, which is from where we were, we've made progress. So there is progress on that side. It's just the Fed's trying to do more, and that would be softening the labor market, which would give that extra boost and then possible, cutting of rates and not higher for longer. What stops higher for longer? That is what the market cares about. And it's the labor market that's going to help the demand, right? Which will affect the supply and lower, hopefully lower prices and goods and services, right? There's just such a crazy amount of need. I mean, there's even just looking out of my place, like I said, guys, there's just so much going on. I'm like, where are all these people from? And like, what's going on? Holy shit. So in the morning, whether you have to make a list, I'm just telling you what I do. If you could, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. There's a couple people that I'd like to bring on. Some heavy hitters, some big names that I would like to contact and bring on, right? Maybe have a question and get to ask them some questions about the market, about them. I'd like to be able to bring some people on, and you'd help me do that, and you'd also help bring me along to someone else that would like to be here and like to learn, ask questions, and hang out and go through charts and, manage risk, right? So I come in, I want to know what's the news. Because if first off, we need to know where are yields, where's the dollar, where's the VIX, and what we think the market's going to do, depending on if there's news or not, or if the news is just like for Rivian, like a company alone comes out and says, "Hey, we're expecting better than expectations. Like we're going to have a really good quarter. We're just letting y'all know that," or the opposite, it's a really bad quarter. Okay, so knowing that I can say, hey, the market's probably going to sit sideways because we have data tomorrow, or we just had data, and because of the data, maybe we get a continuation play. What does the pattern look like on the chart? But why do I look at VIX and the dollar and stuff? Because that's going to help me with the amount of direction, and the volatility that I'm going to get is why I would use the VIX. That's going to tell me the pricing. It's going to tell me, and the VIX is going to tell me a lot of things, right? It's going to tell me pretty much volatility and what the market expects, right? So, no, I've had it. I just pulled this up because of the, well, I thought I was pulling up the dollar, but I was just pulling up yields in the dollar. I use this for like yields, dollar, and like crypto and stuff. So what does this look like? If we're looking at the dollar rate, oh, this is yields. Does this look like a support level that could be put in for the yields, which could take it higher? So what we would do is we'd say, hey, we got a level here that looks like it's holding, that this thing could just bounce higher. Doesn't mean it has to make a new high, but we have a topping tail up here. We have, this resistance here, or yeah, previous resistance of 470 that was broken, right? It's holding. We got to watch. Does it continue to hold? And the longer it continues to hold, the more we got to say, hey, we're thinking downside on the markets because yield's higher for longer. It's sitting right here at the area which is support, or support's going to be broken because of the data tomorrow. That data tomorrow is going to send this higher, or it's going to give us the pullback that we're looking for. So that's the thesis that I can come up with for tomorrow's price action. So what am I going to do? I'm going to say, all right, if the data comes out like this is the good side of the data. I'm going to get my levels for the upside, and I'm getting my levels for the downside. All right, the ADP report already brought us down a good bit. We're still at the 200-day moving average. We have a gap between the 200-day moving average and the 100-day moving average. Well, probably bad news. We're going to look to get back down to that 200-day moving average. Right? Once we get there, then we'll see what happens. But if we get bad data and we're at the 200-day moving average, it's like, then we just say, hey, does the 200-day hold? Okay, it holds. We'll probably chop around a little bit. What's the good news that's going to, take us up and test that 100-day moving average, or at least get us to the upside, right? Yields right now are setting up to go up higher, right? Yields are setting to go up higher. That means the market is telling you they don't think that unemployment report's going to be good. It's going to show a very tight labor market and that higher for longer. That's what that chart right here is showing you. So you should probably come in with no bias, but say, hey, I'm not going to be surprised if this market sells off again. And it might come in so damn bad that we break the 200-day moving average and hello 415, 418, which we've already been there. Okay? So, but yeah, so what we'll do is, if you guys could, throw some tickers in the chat that you're looking at, whatever questions you guys have, any comments. So it says here, the market never go up this way. So the first thing is it is going to crash, or it's going to be in an iron support. Let's see here. I'm trying to understand what, hold on one second. Market go up this way. So the first thing is, it's just like, listen, I'm not sure if it's a question or just a statement. I mean, I get what you're saying. Right now, we just don't have any good news to help us out at all, right? No deal done. They got a 45-day runoff to just buy time. They just threw the guy they threw the speaker out. They voted him out. So how are we going to come together to get a deal done to help this market out? You don't get a deal. You got a really tight labor market. Okay. Maybe not getting a deal helps because that might physically be a reason why people aren't working and like could cause problems. right? It could cause, it's still not good, right? I don't know how, I just think that if we don't have a deal, the market does pull back, right? That's less GDP, that's, velocity of money, that's payments not being paid. But more so, that is the credit of the United States of America getting downgraded by Moody's. It's already been downgraded by what? S&P, Standard and Poor's, right? Now Moody's is already talking about going after them. Or Fitch. It was Fitch that did it. Now we're about to have Moody's after them. They've already said, like, guys, you need to figure out what it is that you're doing because we're ready to get you. All right, let's get into the charts. I didn't mean to spend so much time doing that, but it's important. Let's not fall off the horse and have bad weeks when we don't have to. If we are starting to feel like that, we can comment in chat, right, and say, hey, I need some help. This is what I've been doing. You know, this, that, and the third, right? And we can all come together and try and help. That's why I created this. Because we don't charge you guys thousands of dollars. And not only with the thousands of dollars, getting your information and just blowing up your emails, blowing up your phone, right? Just drilling it in your head. Hey, 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 membership, 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 membership. No, guys, right? People don't have to have thousands of dollars to waste to just go over charts and to get it back on the right track. So again, if you could help me, that's all I ask is hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you have, God bless you and I thank you and I appreciate you. So what are we going to do? So what did I say today? I went off of what I saw yesterday. So what did I see yesterday? I saw this market reclaim every level that it hit for the ADP report. It didn't get all the way back. We have not taken back the ADP report. So what you do want to do is say, hey, you want to have this circled. You want to have this circled right there. Why is that? Because if we get some good news and we start making 426.50 support, you're going to say, okay, we've taken back the ADP report, right? We've taken that back. Maybe we take back, what was it? Jackson Hole. Like, you want to have the Fed meetings, ADP report. When the market moves, you want to have that date circled and know what it was that caused that market move. SVB, right? Remember when the banks were shutting down? Or before they were shutting down, when they said that they needed to raise money. The market sold off. Well, as we start to turn things around and start to take it back, you should be able to go long because when you see us taking back the move from the banks failing, you should already know we've taken it back. We've made it support. We're going higher. If nobody's taught you that, right? If nobody's taught you that, take that for what I just said. You're going to circle ADP. It was a pretty big deal. Once you see this level from the day that ADP came out at 10 o'clock, we take that back and reclaim it as support and start to move higher. Don't look to be short because things are going good that the market's hearing. Things are starting to line up. And whether it's just a technical pullback or what, when you start to get data sets that are important and you reclaim them like Fed days, if the market sells off bad, or if it goes up and then we pull back and erase that, you got to remember that. You got to take that in, right? And when we take back banks that are under stress and they're failing and we pull it back 4 or 5%, a week later we're back up to where the banks failed and we've broken that resistance, you need to know, hey, we're past where the banks failed. We made that support. Something's going on that the market's liking and we're going higher. Whether it's earnings, right, which we're getting ready to come into next week. All right, so and this yields and the government things, there is no direct interfere with of public, so it moves slightly different than the actual stock market. Yeah, that's true. It's hard to predict. The chart when the price moves is very compact. I was just saying that we'll see the fundamentals. It's saying we'll go long. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Let me read that one more time. I'm sorry. So the first thing is it's going to crash or it's going. No, you're absolutely right. But what's going to be the reason to break the 200-day and the crash, right? That could be tomorrow. Listen, there's always a reason. I'm telling you right now. There's always a reason why we go higher or we go lower. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to see this market sit sideways for a little bit whether we're anticipating something or there's nothing going on, we're going to just climb higher very slowly, and you're going to get back to the old days of trading, right? But right now, we're getting all of the data sets that the Fed's looking for, which is the labor market. That's what the Fed's worried about. And we're getting all that this week. You just seen we had if you want to add it up from pre-market, that's a 2% down day, over 2% in the S&Ps. That's big. So it tells you the market's moving off of labor market, right? Because the labor market, again, if it doesn't soften, higher for longer. It may even say that the Fed has to raise rates higher, which then, if that happens, you will see that Jerome Powell will come out and say, we got to do another 25 basis point. There's your crash. November, right? November. They don't come to an agreement. We still don't have a house thing. Shit's just hitting the fan. Yes, stock market crash, right? Stock market crash. Now, if you see the labor market pull back too much, that's the other part of this. You get a surprise number in the labor market where we start to soften a little bit, and then bang, you get this big gap, which we will get, right? It'll be a big surprise in the labor market, and then now it's, did the Fed do too much? Too much too quick. Didn't give it enough time, right? So there is always a reason why the market's moving. But again, we know that's sentiment, right? That's sentiment. That's the overall bigger picture. That's sentiment, okay? Then, like, I just wanted to get across that. That's what I wanted to get across, was like how we go into the morning before the bell opens if we're not trading small caps. What's the news? What's the overall plan for the markets? Do we have data that's going to move it? Okay, if not, market probably waits for the data points that we're waiting for. All right. If the market's already made a big move, it probably just chops a little bit, because it's very hard for the markets to just continue to make 1.5%, 2% moves day after day after day after day. It can, but it also has to just unwind a little bit, right? Because you have people that's either lost money or made a lot of money, and they're sitting back for a little bit waiting for a directional move to either get short or long again, right? So focus on what it is that you're doing in the morning. Covering the news. How do you interpret the news? And then what do you think about the overall market? And does the overall market move of your thoughts support your directional move for the news that you have? For a direction, like I'm talking about like news as in like specific news, like today, like Rivian, right? That was a top play today, was Rivian. Specifically, Rivian says, hey, we're a small cap company that's starting to run out of money, got to issue, they're issuing bonds and saying that they're downgrading their quarter, that they're not going to be doing so well, especially with the environment we're coming in. Okay, that's specifically for them. Bang, look at that. You got a 22% move in the stock alone. That's a 22% move in the stock alone. That's huge. You're asking for 1,000%er there on options. A member in chat took it. Let's go into the charts and stuff like that. Whatever you guys want to look at, we will. As of right now, I don't know of much. I don't have Wall Street Journal or Barron's or anything on here. I was away a little bit. I was at the hospital. Everything is okay. No, I don't want Wall Street Bets. I want Wall Street Journal. I could turn on the whatchamacallit, Bloomberg right now, but so no, come on, go back. No, I'm not buying anything right now. I have all I need. Thank you though. So, and I was just about to say oil. So what do we have right now? We have Rivian. Okay, that was a company that had just given bad guidance for the future. Okay. We have the solar sector. The solar sector has been pulling back. You have oil pulling back. So there's 3 categories of opportunity right there, guys. All right. And doing this, is something I wasn't doing in the morning. Yes, I went over Rivian. I brought that out. That was a top trade idea. I was slacking because I was getting my charts ready and going over the stream and stuff. That's my own fault, right? But I realized the other day that I was just struggling. Like I was getting pulled away and not getting back to the script, right? It's so important, right? And then you even take it further. right? You take it further and okay, now that I've got where I want to be, I've got the liquidity, I've got the direction. Now where do I enter? And where do I exit? When do I be too patient? Do I just get in? Right? That's a decision you have to make for yourself. But again, you want to remember, use your 9 EMA. Use your VWAP for entry and exit points. Okay? You can run your Fibonacci. How far back are you just grabbing that pullback to yesterday's close, getting short there? You know where your stop is, right? Knowing those things. You're finding the stocks, you're finding the liquidity, right? Which is the stocks itself. And then you go to the chart and say, all right, if I think we're going to have downside, I want to see this thing bounce up to yesterday's low of day, have it hold as resistance, turn that support into resistance, and that's where I'm entering. And if we pull back up there, does that line up with like my 38.2 fib, 50 fib? Like what? Like does the 38.2 fib line right up with low of day? Like Rivian. So Exxon closed for a mega deal for Shale Giant Pioneer. All right, so let's go look at Exxon real quick. Right, that is XOM, I think, right? And if you guys have tickers, we can throw it in. So not really anything, but the oil move was already made. So you broke the 200-day moving average there. And the 50-day is right there. So what is the setup that I see already coming for Exxon? What's up, Mike? How you doing, buddy? Haven't seen you in a little while. You could watch for a golden cross. Or not a golden cross. Oh, the 50-day's up here. If you start to see this 50-day break down below that 200-day with volume, that's a death cross. We would look to get short on the bounce back to the 50 or 200-day. So that, it's what I wanted to focus on, and we're going to go through charts with just coming in the morning and making sure that not only you guys but myself, that we're coming in and we're doing what we're supposed to be prepared to set ourselves up for a successful day. It's so important. It's going to make or break your career, right? It is. It's making or breaking mine. It's very well could. Are you really to make 10,000 of 1,000s, and I can teach you how to make money, but you must hold, and I have so many winners. I'm making 10,000 of 1,000 and make so much, and told you to buy PAGs and you can have XOM. Listen, what did PAGs do today? Listen, I just had a stock today that went down 28%. So if PAGs has not moved 5%, all right, it has not. This is what PAGs did today. I know it's a good stock. I'm just talking about trading, not like buying, Mike. But I hope you're doing well, buddy. I just don't know much about this, and this is a very good day. You're right. Look at that. That's a 3% day. All right? That's a good day. How's the liquidity on it? How many shares did this trade today? It's traded 4 million shares. That's good. Look at the volume. This is a very good setup, Mike. Thank you for bringing that up. This thing is right at it's getting ready to come into resistance. This thing breaks. It's got the volume. If it breaks this resistance, I will buy PAGs. I will. I know you told me that, Mike. I know. It's near $8 and has no debt. Oh, I know. But yeah, now look, Mike. Now I buy PAGs. That's different than me coming in and saying, where am I going to make income? Right? PAGs would be something that I would buy. It gets to $9, $10, $12, $15. I'm taking some off. Right? That's a little different than actually coming in the day and placing trades. Right? Now, I don't know, the liquidity and all that behind it. Sure, I could buy 1,000 shares of PAG, right, and sit and wait. Or I could take, $1,000, right? I could take $1,000 and buy, a few puts on in Rivian and make $5-6 grand, right? I could give 400 to 800% at 10:30, 11:30, because when you have a company that this is a playbook. This is going in my playbook. This is the ultimate trade, right? This is a mid-cap company. I've came on here and told you guys The IWM has been struggling for a lot of reasons, not just because of banks. A lot of these companies, if they start running out of money because they do not have earnings, all they have is debt. There is no PE, right? The only price to earnings is the debt that it has. Okay? A lot of these companies could find themselves going out of business if this rate hike lasts longer. If this higher for longer thing does happen, you could find companies in trouble because they need capital. They go to the bank, they start issuing shares, they issue bonds, right? They go to the bank, they're not going to get as much as they want, and they're going to have to pay more for it. And they're not making any money. Who's to say that the consumer doesn't hold up so well and they just end up out of business because their product is just, I'm just going to use Crocs as an example. Just people stop wearing Crocs and now it's just a can of soup at a warehouse. So, but yes, Mike Pags is a great deal, man. I greatly appreciate it. But what more so is that I'm focusing on just, intraday trades, right? Intraday trading, because I know a lot of these people trade options. So I'm just here trying to help them and provide value. Let's go through some charts. We're going to start with the SPY real quick. If you guys haven't done so, if you could help me pass this forward to somebody else that would like to be here, go through chart stuff, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so. Maybe tell a friend. We're here for each other. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for all of us, and myself, right? So the SPY kind of did what I thought, but it didn't. I was looking to see if we could get to this 426.50 area, 426.45. And it's very clear that it's telling me we're not, because we need a reason to get up there. All right. This is a really nice setup. You see this red box that I have here? This is the area that I've been watching. And we cannot break above it to hold it to move higher. Why is that? Because we need a reason. We need a reason to get up there. Because things right now aren't looking so good. We're getting the opposite of what we want to see, actually. Okay? So, tomorrow, non-farm payrolls and unemployment tomorrow. And like I say, those oil trades, those trades will make your month. They really will. Let's see. Hold on one second. Yeah, I'm going to go, I'll look that up. Let's see. Oil stocks and oil going to bounce with ETF oil. UCL going up by a pin chart. Look, UCL, okay, is a no-brainer going up. Awesome. Told you about natural. Yeah, you did. Yeah, UNG, yup. Wait, yeah, didn't UNG go up today? I haven't, you know what's funny? I think I've traded UNG one time. I think I've traded natural gas one time. Look at that move today. Look at that move. They are going to bounce back up. And look at that resistance level that we have up here. $77.45. Damn near to a T on that level. So that's what I like to see as it gets. Look, you guys just seen that I didn't put that up there. It's been there. So I've obviously, this helps me say, hey, you're seeing the board right. You're supporting your resistance levels. Me seeing that go right to that, whether it's support or resistance, tells me I'm doing a good job reading charts, right? Why didn't I put this thing, right? Like, why didn't I put it, like, right here, right? Why didn't I put it right there, right? Why didn't I put it right here, right? It's probably going to pull back right there, 733, and find support, go higher. But this is a good, you could trade this all day long. This has got volatility, right? You're buying the dips and selling the rips. Buying the dip, sell the rip, buy the dip, sell the rip. Buy the dip, sell the rip. Now what would we do? We'd probably wait for the pullback, see if that $7, 7-11 holds, look for that rip again to get back up to 775 area. Let's see. I mean, use a pinch chart, which tells me when a stock oversold about it. That's cool. I'll have to look into that. I've never used it. I use like chalk and money flow, and I use a lot of other things that aren't on here that I use that are actually over here on this laptop and stuff. So real quick, let me do this real quick. Let's cover the big names real quick, and then we're going to go into a couple different names. But again, we'll see what we get for what we wake up to, right? What type of news we get or don't get. We know we're getting that non-farm payroll number. We know we're getting unemployment. And if you don't know, real quick, other than GDP, right? Other than 2 quarters of negative GDP, what would you use to tell whether you're in a recession or not? Which is very clear we're not in a recession just yet. All right. And I also, if you guys have not seen this, all right, you guys should know that that's CPI chart. We'll have to bring that up too. Okay. I don't want to make it too long because I want to get into some charts. You come on, please work with me now. Come on, bro. So what this is GDP. This right here tells you a lot. Okay, this is interest rate hike cycles and GDP. You come in to a rate hike cycle. We'll use 1999 to 2000s, right, as an example. You actually want to look at this. This is 2 years prior, during, and 2 years after. So when the Atlanta Fed raised GDP in August, that should be no surprise that they raised GDP. This chart is the lag effect. Okay? 1999 to 2000, 2 years prior, GDP was 5.3%. During that rate hike cycle was 6.1. 2 years afterwards was 2.1. That 2.1, what would that cause? That would cause the Fed to cut rate. They probably started cutting already, but that is your quantitative easing and quantitative tightening. You could look at it backwards. Okay, you lower rates to bring GDP up, right? You lower them, then things start working good, right? 2 years prior, 5.3. You could even go right here to 2004. Look, 3.4, 3.7, and then back down to 1.8. So what do? They got to do? They got to cut rates. They cut rates. They're, so on and so forth. All right. Quantitative easing and quantitative tightening. This is your lag effect, right? During the cycle, GDP is up because you have all that liquidity, all of that loosening of interest rates. Quantitative easing starts to, takes its time. The Fed wants to get ahead of it so things, cool off and don't get too hot, right? They start raising rates, right? As they're raising rates, GDP is still going up because there's that lag effect, right? Then this is what they're trying to do now, right? They've pretty much stopped raising rates, which I think they have, and I think they're going to give it a month or two, right? I think you're going to have to really start seeing stuff by the end of October, going into the November, for Powell and crew to say, hey, yeah, we need to raise rates more. The problem is that they're fighting a war. Right? They also got to worry about what the government's doing to not help them, but then not overshoot it. And then there's a war going on, and they don't have taxes coming in that they need to pay for a war. It's a whole mess. So this chart, I would take a picture of it, and it's from Rosenberg Research. It's important because it just shows you the lag effect. And then 2 years after the rate hike cycles, you see that pullback in GDP, right? So yeah, and I'm going to run through that list real quick. So the SPY, guys, tomorrow, let's see where futures are trading at. I'm really curious. I mean, they're right there where we closed. This pretty much is telling me that right now, right? This is where we're pretty much trading just below where we closed. We're going to wait for that number tomorrow. So let's go look for some opportunity. And remember, if yields rise, right? And that's another thing you want to write down in the mornings, that if you're seeing the cues or knowing if that 10-year does find that support and starts to move higher, you're going to want to look at tech stocks, right? You're going to want to look to the tech stocks to have that pullback, right? This is what made that Rivian trade today just above all else. Yeah, just give me 1 sec, Mike. I'll have to catch up to your comments, buddy. Just give me 1 second. So the cues, right? Kind of the same thing. Just sit here at this level. I was going to say that they were doing a little bit better yesterday, but today they closed a little bit lower. So let's look at this. So that's the close from yesterday's high. If I go to the SPY, right? Because you can also spot rotation by doing this too. Did the SPY close as low as the Qs did? Because technically the SPY should be down like here. Let's look at IWM and Dow. Let's see if the Dow, this is kind of telling me, if I look at the Dow, that the Dow might start to go to the upside. That there might be that rotation into like healthcare and Dow names. Let's look at the IWM, and then we're going to go to the Dow. Now I'm comparing yesterday's close to today's close. Again, look at that. Look at the IWM. Are you seeing the rotation? Look how the IWM closed higher than yesterday's close. Right? Here's yesterday's close, guys. Doing this stuff in the morning is going to show you, hey, tech is weak, Dow is strong. So we're going to look for Boeing. We're going to look for Disney. We're going to look for, Dow names, 3M, anything, right? Home Depot, right? And what do we have here? There's yesterday's close, and the Dow closed above yesterday's close, and it closed green. So you're seeing the leader. There's the Dow. Here's the Qs. The Dow closes green. The Qs closes red. Tech is weak. Dow is going to be the leader. So if you're going to want to look for calls, you're going to want to look to be in a sector that's going higher, not lower. So if you're looking to get long tech stocks, you might want to rethink what it is that you're doing, or there's news or a reason why it's going higher, right? That's part of the morning, putting yourself on track for a successful trading day, right? Identifying that. Let's go look at innovation. That's the other one you could look at. Let's look at ARK. And surprisingly, yeah, ARK closed pretty much where it closed yesterday. So it's like right in the middle, right? This thing's already gotten beaten up. That doesn't mean anything because it can still get beaten up. But did you see what I did there? I seen that the Qs closed way lower than yesterday's high and low. Or not low, but yesterday's close. And I'm like, hey, wait. If the Qs closed here and yesterday's close was like here, then the SPY should be down here if everything's going down. But it's not. That led me to say, hey, the IWM and the Dow is probably going green. The Dow is green. Right? That stuff is going to take time. But knowing that, what's going to be the leader to the upside or down? Listen, usually it's either the Dow leading and the Qs are lagging, or the Qs are leading and the Dow is lagging. Okay? For the most part, at least the sentiment now. Since 2022, 2023, that's typically been what's going on. Okay? If you look at the Dow, it never pulled back like the rest of the market did for a reason. There was a flight to safety, right? A flight to names that are well known, that are pretty safe, low multiple names, right? It didn't sell off as much, so therefore there wasn't that much of a rally. The Qs got hammered, right? Okay, well, things changed. We thought we were going to have now we're into worrying about higher for longer. We thought we were going to be okay with rates. It didn't mess us up like we thought it was, going from 0 to 4.5, 4, 5, you know what I mean? Good news was happening. Now, what's going on? Now, this rally's getting taken back. That right there is showing you the shift from the Qs technology to safer names, low multiple names. So that's what I'm going to look for, okay? I know Disney had some news today as well. All right, I'm going to go into like NVIDIA, Tesla, all those names. All right. But after looking at this chart, now I know in my mind tomorrow, if we get good news, I want to see how the markets react. If for some reason like this unemployment and non-farm payrolls can come in just under, which I doubt that it's going to do because of the initial jobless claims, because the initial jobless claims are a little bit different, right? How many people are not working but aren't filing because whether they can't or they just aren't. So it's a little misleading. But the unemployment rate and the non-farm payrolls, that's going to give the markets a real glimpse on the government data on the labor market that the Fed is literally going to be looking at. Here's the other issue with the government shutdown, if nobody's told you. Not only the credit downgrade, right? Not only that, the ruckus of that. Not only the credit downgrade, but the Fed. How's the Fed going to get the data that they need to combat what it is that they're doing if the government's shut down? That's the other kicker, okay? I'm not saying we're going up and I'm not saying we're going down. I'm just saying, we need some type of good news to help, just to help us out a little bit here. It hasn't been nothing good, guys, right? No deal, right? We just got an extension. The speaker's gone, right? Labor market's coming in tighter, as if we thought the labor market couldn't be any tighter. All right, so therefore we went through the cues. We started to notice the difference between the cues and the SPY, which led us to say, hey, the Dow and IWM are probably going to be green. The Dow's probably going to be the leader. Okay. Now we know where we want to be long and what it is that we want to be short if this continues tomorrow and into next week. Okay? This stuff is important. This is how you can change your life. All right? These are the things I weren't doing. I wasn't doing this. When I say go to the dollar, go to yields, and go to VIX, and then what you think the markets are going to do, that's exactly what I mean by going to the cues, then looking at the SPY. Okay, where you should already be able to tell between either the Dow and the SPY or the cues and the SPY what is leading and what is lagging, what's going green and what's going red. If you don't, now you do. Start watching it and you will start to learn, right? I took notice. I could tell that the cues were way back, way below their yesterday's close, and then I look at the SPY, and the SPY's like a lot closer up, so that tells me something's holding the SPY up, and a lot of the down names are in the SPY, right? So it's technology that's getting hit because of yields. And what did we say? Yields rise. We want to look to be short tech. Not you could buy puts, you could short whatever you want to do. I wouldn't recommend short if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, stocks can go on forever. Stocks can only go down to zero. You can wipe yourself out shorting. You really need to know what you're doing. All right, so let's go through a few names. So Rivian had its news. So Tesla, I was looking at Tesla. All right, I had mentioned yesterday or today on the stream that we had an island reversal being put in here. Okay, if you don't know what an island reversal is, that's where a stock gaps up, it rolls itself over, has a gap down. So what I pointed out was, doesn't mean that we have it, but it's looking like we might. And what could help us with the downside, right? We also have, we also have that labor report, but with this technical setup could make for some downside movement on Tesla, right? So what I noticed was when we gapped down, we broke back up to retest that island reversal, and we rejected it today. Let's go look at the volume to solidify, but we did close green. We closed like even. Let's look at the volume to kind of give us a glimpse. And I can already tell you, selling for the most part ruled the day. Yes, we closed green, but you got a lot of selling here in the morning and in the afternoon. It wasn't so much at the end of the day, right? That's a lower high being put in. I'm honestly thinking, guys, that we have an island reversal here on Tesla. If you haven't heard it, you heard it here first. It's just something I'm watching. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Tesla could go higher. But if you're telling me that this gap wasn't just retested, that square box, that's a nice island reversal. Bang, come back up. That's a double top also. You could say it's a double top. What's up, Chris? How you doing, bro? It's good to see you, man. You make things too hard on yourself. What you need is set up to buy the dip in oil is the best that happened this year. Listen, Mike, I bought Oxy, One Oak, Fang, what else? Fang, Diamondback Energy is one of my biggest runners. I bought them in 2020 and just started selling them off. I am really good on oil right now. And I think that's why we may see even a pullback. But again, if oil's trading over $40, they're still going to make some good money. That's nice interest to have there. All right. I sat dead money for a year and a half. I went green and just talked about this the other day. The fact that I bought oil and as much money as I put into oil and how overweight oil I was. And it could have worked out differently if Trump got back into office. Those positions wouldn't have looked like what they look like. I had to cut a lot of them. There's no way I could have left that money on the table and had it taken back. I would live with so much regret if I did not take some off the table. I owned a lot of oil back in 2020 going into 2021. So that did more for me than any Tesla stock or Apple stock did. I'm telling you that right now. We were talking about that the other day. I was just saying that that's a trade idea, right? Just things that we're noticing, right? I'm feeling like oil was going to make that pullback. I failed to put on a trade, so therefore I did not reap the benefits of that instinctive feeling that I'm telling everyone on live, putting myself out there, right? And the JP Morgan trade that we were calling out. But it's okay. I will write these things down, put it in my brain. I said this last week that I was having a problem remembering my trades because whether I get the alert or I'm looking at something else, I'm physically going to put it in my brain. This live is to help if we're struggling, if we're having trouble, to reel it back in, okay, and to go over charts. So Tesla, I think we have an island reversal. We'll see, right? We could very well hold this. We get a good labor report number that the market wants to see. It starts to soften slowly. Then you could see this thing right back up here at this previous resistance level at 273. Or we could sell off, right? We could sell right back off to that 50-day. We did bounce back up to the 50-day. And this is a 1-hour chart, so I do apologize. I want to see. We made intraday. Tesla made that 50-day support, and I said that's the day that I said that I accidentally bought Tesla puts on Wednesday. Yeah, I think it was Wednesday, and I'm like, guys, look at this setup, and I talked about it. Look how it was getting crunched in between this 50-day and 100-day moving average, and I said, guys, this thing's going to make a big move in one direction or another. We can go back to the lives. I know I said it. And what did it do? It did it that day, right? It did it that day. It broke out, busted through, and you can look on a 5-minute chart here. It pulled right back down to the 50-day moving average and blasted off and continued. So I did not take this trade because I messed myself up on the pullback, right? I wasn't prepared. I was too busy trying to be in a rush just to get into a trade. That's not what I need to do. That's not what I need to do if I want to help you guys either. All right. That's a really nice, this is the 50-day moving average if you don't see the small red square, right? That's a break, pullback retest, claim this other support level that it broke. Look at that candle. Bang. All right. We had the volume early morning. It was a little iffy here, right? It was either going to break it, but it didn't. And once it held and bounced off of it, and you made that previous pivot low support, boom, it was on. All right, so Tesla, that's what I think for Tesla, guys. I can give you guys some levels real quick. I need to clean these charts up. I really do. I do not like I like to make trading easy. I don't like to have thousands of lines just going everywhere. I hate that shit, right? But if it works for you, it works for you. So you can see the indecision that's forming here on a 4-hour. We have this previous pivot high that we closed at it today, right? We closed at it today, which is a pivot, not a pivot, the pennant that was forming here, right? If you don't see it, here it is, right? Here's part of it. There's 1, and then we have 2, right? The pennant right here that it doesn't want to work for me, right? There's that pennant, or you could do it like this, however you want to do it, right there. It gaps out of it. That's a gap and go. Pulls back. It's a failed breakdown. It gets bought up. But again, it found support at this 100-day moving average, which was around here at the time. It wasn't too much farther lower. So that's what we got. And we were saying, guys, this thing is stuck in between. And it's going to make a big move in the direction it did. So there's Tesla. I didn't trade Tesla at all today because there was no reason to. Rivian was the play of the day. A lot of these stocks look like that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to run through and see what type of setups we have. Let's go to AMD real quick because I know it made a move to the downside. It looked like it was putting in a cup and handle. First thing we're going to do, if you guys have tickers also, you can throw them in the chat. If you could do me a solid and hit the like button, that'd be pretty cool too. It'd be awesome to, help the channel out by helping someone else find it so they can come here if they'd like to learn how to trade, or they are trading and they just want to have a place to go to and hang out. All right. Haven't looked at AMD in a while, as you can tell, because the moving averages are off. I don't want to see any of this stuff. Maybe I shouldn't have did that, but whatever. All right. It looks like AMD has the same thing going on. What are we seeing? We have what here? So if you don't see it, this red line here is the 50-day moving average. We have the same thing as Tesla. Right? There's a 50-day resistance. There's your 200-day support. They're closing in on one another. So what do? Until something changes, we're going to look to short the top side of the range and be long the top side of the range is what I would look to do until something gives, right? What I would look for, the thing is AMD was red today. It closed red. But take notice to that tail that was put in. I was saying this week that it looked like we had a cup and handle, right? There's your cup, pull back to the handle, which was what? A low volume pullback, okay? A low volume pullback. And that's what you want to watch for. You want to see like cup and handles that are bullish, right? You want to see the right side of that cup that's going up. You want to see an increase in buying. You want to see on the handle a low volume pullback. Look to get long. It's got to be, the price action has to be nice and tight though, because it could look like a pattern, but if the pattern isn't clean, it's probably not. It's probably not what you think, and it's going to just fail, right? So you could also look for that. You could say, hey, people are thinking this is this, and it's not. Okay. So look here, right? That's a really nice break and retest on the daily right here. All right. Boom, boom. So let's take it in further. So we know on a daily chart we have the 50-day above us and the 200-day below us. I know I'm going too far. It's 10:30 already. Going too long on too much stupid stuff. All right. Let's go to a 30-minute chart. So all we can do is look at our support and resistance levels. And we've already noticed and established that we had some big buying down here. And I told you guys that. I feel like there's going to be a lot of buying. The closer we get to that like high 80s on AMD, if this thing gets to $80, $75, do yourself a favor and you should think about buying this stock for your long term. I will be. If we get to 80, if I get the honor to buy this thing at $80, I will be buying. And if it continues to go down further, that's fine. But I will be buying pieces on those pullbacks of AMD again, because I regret not buying it 2 years ago, or buying more, right? Buying more of them. You know, these are some names that I do like if we can get out of this and get some growth going. So this is a 30-minute chart here. I wanted to see us pull back to 98.50, right? 98.50 is where I want to see us pull back. You did make this level resistance. It's like, it's putting in lower highs. How about that, right? We opened here, sold off. You got back up to that area, didn't quite get up to that open. That's a lower high. Lower high again today, intraday, right? I think you could be setting up to see this thing pull itself back. Let me get rid of this. Let's do this real quick. I'm going to show you guys something. This is what I like to do, right? I'll take a stock, and I like to look at it without pre-market and after hours, because it really gives you a glimpse on what it is you should be looking at in a direction, right? There's our previous pivot low that we're acting as resistance, that pivot low right there, right? It's a fail. It has not held this level at all. It hasn't held that level. So right now, I would consider that level resistance. Until you get a pop and a pullback back down into this level is when I would think about being long. But you have the 50-day moving average sitting right there in your way to go long. So I would wait, me personally, on a trade like this. I would wait to see if you get resistance again at the 50-day. See what it looks like when it gets to the 50-day. And then if it feels like it just doesn't have it to get through it, there's no increase in volume, then maybe you put on a small swing trade. That's what I would think about doing, right? Me personally, because I can clearly see 200 is support, 50-day is resistance, okay? And yes, we try to get above that. And look here, guys, this was last week, and we talked about this as a lesson, all right? We talked about this as a lesson, right? Pivot high, pivot high, pivot high, bang. What is this? 1, 2, 3. And what did we say? 4 and out. 4 up and out. But guess what? We quickly took it back. That told you everything you needed to know, right? That told you everything to know that you needed to know, that, hey, that's a failed breakout because you quickly took it back. Look at that tail. Whoom. What else did you get? You got some nice volume there too, right? Tries again. And what'd you get the next day? That's a failed break above and hold of that 102.98, 103 area, we'll call it. And look what happened. Shoom, fell out of bed. You tried to break out. It made one last attempt. So, and this also is another lesson too, because what you have here is if you missed this trade and said, shit, I just missed that failed breakout to get short AMD, right? It gave you the second opportunity. If a stock is strong, and if a stock is really going to move in that direction, like for a good while, and it's going to give you a second opportunity to get in, right? It'll give you another chance to get your entry if that stock is really strong or really weak. So remember that if you miss a trade, if it's really strong, you should get a second chance, right? As you've seen here, this thing just didn't break out, fail, and then just continue lower. It tried one more time. And once you've seen that again, like, man, that level is just, it's too much. So AMD 103. I know I'm going over this too long, and I'm sorry. So this could be a really nice short. This is a technical setup. We've tried again 1, 2, 3, 4, and broke it. You tried it 4 or 5 other times now, right? Again, it doesn't. There are no buyers at 103 to send this thing higher. And again, you got the 50-day there. So that 50-day is acting as resistance like I don't know what, right? So even if you were to hold this and you try to take it long, you only got $1.50 before that 50-day is going to say, hey, what are you doing out of bed, bro? So that's AMD. We're going to look for, 103 short. That would be the area I would look to get short on AMD. Let's look at Apple. Apple had a really nice setup today. All right. I'm sorry for all the lines. I do apologize. I really do. I do apologize for these lines. I just have to clean them in a second. All right, let's do this. And if you guys have any other tickers also, if you could just, if you could hit that like button, if you think this is something that people should start seeing and knowing, I know there's probably people out there that are struggling and just need to reel it back in a little bit, right? And get back to the basics. So that's a nice breakout. You pulled back off of that level for Apple. So what would I look for to continue long? I would look to get long back at this 173 or 173.90, 174 area, right? That's a nice break above that level, right? Does it pull back and hold it as resistance? Prior support, breaks, resistance, resistance. That's a double top. Did a good job of getting above it today. Can we just pull it back? And do we get dip buyers to go long to take it higher? We'll see. Maybe it just didn't get above this level because of what's coming up tomorrow. So what I can do is I can get rid of maybe that. I don't want to do it right yet. Let's go into like a 15-minute chart real quick. We'll go into a 15-minute chart or even a 30-minute. Okay. This was a really nice setup, guys. I liked this setup today, and I didn't take advantage of it. I liked it earlier in the week. So what we have here is this area, and you may not see it. You might see it. But where this red box is, right? Look at this. All right, look at that. That whole area right there. Right? Support, 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 support. It breaks, right? Comes back up. Resistance, resistance. Comes back up. Resistance. And it reclaimed it today. Look at it pulling back off of this level. Let's see if we can be a buyer of Apple at 174 if the market's going to rally. The thing is, tomorrow, if the market does go to the upside, the market's going to do it pre-market, right? It's a big deal with what the data set is tomorrow. So I already have this written down as so that's 175. Let's see here. Yeah, 173. So I'm going to say 174 is where I want to look to. Yeah, 174. All right. Let's see here. And again, if you guys have anything, any comments, it would help the stream to help somebody find it. Any tickers, you could throw them in. I hope some of this stuff has helped. I hope you guys had a great day trading. I mean, tell me how your trading day went. That's the other thing we could do here. If you had a bad day, a good day, it doesn't matter. So what we could do actually yeah, you know, that 174 to 174.20 area, you could see if we start holding this as support now, right? We would start to turn this box, right? We'll start to turn it, and we will, like, this can go away. I don't know. We might visit it tomorrow, honestly. Um, let's see here. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what it is I'm doing. All right. So we have here a very nice level. And again, it's a level. It's an area that we would look to see if we could be a buyer. Man, I might need pre-market and after hours. I might, this area right there, right? So we're going to look. And we want to dive in, too, to see if there's any gap fills above or below us. Is there any gap fills? That's another thing you want to look for, right? So 174 area is where we would look to be a buyer. Probably made a support, probably like 174.03-ish. Let me see here. I got to go quicker because I don't want this video to last long, and, you know. But as long as people find value in it, you know, people don't usually sit past 20 minutes on a live stream, but I felt it was a lot to say and whatnot. You know, you look at that. That's where you could find your support, as a matter of fact. Look at this. And it's starting to try and hold it as support pre-market, but I feel like it's not going to. We need a pullback down here. What I could do is I could also go to like a 3-minute or 5-minute. That'll really zone in on the pivot highs and pivot lows, right? So this whole area, 173.90 to 174.18. Okay, you could dumb it down on Apple or whatever stock you're looking at if you want to trade it. Is to look for, you know, previous day's close to either become resistance or support or pivot highs, right? You could go back and you could say, all right, this is a tough level. Maybe I want to be short, right? If you want to be short or buy puts, you would look to say, you know, previous day's high is where you would look to take an entry. If it breaks above it and in a manner that you know that previous high, it's going higher, you know, the trend is obviously to the upside right now. The past 2 days it has been. So that's Apple. For me to be a buyer, I need to pull back to 174, plain and simple. All right. Nvidia is another bearish stock. So we have some bullish stocks, right? And we want to have some stocks that we think could go to the downside. I got to start with the daily chart. And I like to have 3 names. And I'm going to go to like JP Morgan and stuff and whatnot because we want to have different sectors. I don't want to just be tech heavy. Look, do you guys notice anything? Seriously. Do you guys see this? If you guys can see it, this red line, 50-day moving average, this blue line, 100. What are you guys seeing a trend here? You're seeing the 50-day and the 100-day or the 200. You're seeing these moving averages converge and getting ready to push this price action one way or another. Okay? It's Nvidia, it's Tesla, it's Apple, AMD, right? Every stock we've looked at so far, the moving averages are closing in. If Tesla's anything to help us with the future, chances are we could get a breakout. But, you know, the difference is between Tesla and Nvidia's had a hell of a run. Like it's probably made its run for a little bit and it needs to cool down. All right, so you got buyers at the 100-day and you got some sellers at the 50-day. 1, 2, 3 rejections of that 50-day. All right, so let's go to a 15-minute chart, a 30-minute chart. I actually like this area as a resistance level. So this is the level I was watching, okay? And I'm going to pull it up for you. And you can already see it, right? You have this double bottom here. But more importantly, this is your support area. So 453.50, okay? Support, 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 support. It breaks, whatever. Comes right back to hold it again and then fails. And then starts its downtrend. It's been on a week and a half uptrend. All right, you got a small pullback going up to that level. So what we also could do is let's go to an hourly chart or 4-hour, whatever you want to use. All right, let's do something here. Let's measure this move here. Because that's one thing I haven't done, guys. I've fallen off the horse. I need to get back up on it. I have not been measuring my moves. When was the last time you guys seen me measure a move? We measured oil. We gave you the target for USO, XLE, rig, right? We were calling them out when we first started the stream. And I haven't measured moves. That's why I got to get back on my shiz. All right, so let's go pivot high. We pulled it back. That's the move. All right, what are we doing? Look at that 23.6 fib acting as resistance. All right, 38.2 fib. You probably can't see it that well. All right, look at that. Support, double top, triple top, whatever you want to call it. I call that a double top. That's one flow of price action. All right, rejection at 38.2 fib. Look here again, starts to reject it, right? Breaks it, tries to hold it, breaks it again. Look, resistance again. Climbs up, fools right around at it. Now it's broken back up. What's it going to do? Right? What's it going to do? Are we going... And look where that 50% retracement mark comes in. Guys, that 50% retracement is right at our resistance area. Should be resistance, because if support becomes resistance, that was a major level of support. It's just, we're going to need some type of news to break that level, right? So if we get an opportunity anywhere around there, I'm going to look to buy a pullback on NVIDIA. Keeping in mind, NVIDIA has been in a short-term uptrend, okay? It's been in a short-term uptrend. So we could have a bear flag going on here, but not really. That's not a bear flag. If it didn't have this, because this is a, this is a pullback, made a resistance, and I think we start headed lower. I'd like to see it back down at 433. So that's the level I'm watching for AMD, up in that area to be short. And guys, if your plan is to get short up here or whatever, or get long, whatever plan you have, don't diverge from that plan. Don't just not stick to it. Say, hey, if it gets here, or even if it doesn't get there, like Apple, I want to be a buyer at 174. What if Apple doesn't get there? Okay, then it never got there. I never got the chance to buy it. I'm not buying it, right? I'm going to have to let it do what it needs to do. I'm going to let it do what it needs to do, as in a couple days, a week, 2 weeks, whatever. And I'm going to wait for that new support or resistance to show up to say, all right, now this is where I'm going to be a buyer, or this is where I'm going to sell it, right? This is where I'm going to go short, right? So having that plan and sticking to it, just like today on the SPY. I said 424. I wanted to be a buyer at 424. I waited. I was a buyer at 424. That was my plan. I stuck to it. It gave me a 30% return. I was greedy. I never took profits. Even though I told myself, guys, all I see is selling volume. All I see is selling volume. VWAP has already acted as resistance. It's probably going to act as resistance again. But I still feel like we're going up. Okay, well, I'm in options. You're in options if you trade them. Timing is everything. We could be wrong on the timing. If it gives us that move, we take profits, because anytime you're in a trade, the number one thing that I want to focus on is managing risk. And the only way that I can manage risk is to take pieces of profit off on that trade. If it's giving me money, I need to take it. Because there's nothing like going green to red. I was up 30% to being down, X amount. That's not a good feeling. That's not being profitable. Doesn't matter how much we make, as long as we are not losing and making money, whether it's because the home runs are going to come. As long as we stick to our game plans, the home runs are going to come. It's important to know that, and it's important to stick to your plan. If you don't know how to come up with a plan, throw it in chat. We can help you. This is what we do this for. All right. So around this 50-day moving average, unless we have, obviously, the unemployment, the labor market data that we're going to get, if it can show us any type of signs that yields can pull back and give it up, and that the Fed, that we can, start to think about not higher for longer, start getting something to help this market out, because nothing that's coming in is helping us out at all. All right, we ain't even talking about we ain't even worried about CPI and PPI. We know where that's at. Year over year, month over month, it's still down. It's still not where it was. Okay, it's a labor market. All right, it's the labor market. So if you're just joining us, we've done a whole lot of things here. We need help here. Like something's got to help this market go higher, right? Or we're just going to be stuck here. But if we get bad news, we can always go lower, right? The market's priced in a lot now. We're coming into a month that's usually strong, but we need to get something to support it. You're already getting ready to get a second downgrade. I don't even know if that's happened. I don't know if you've had two creditors downgrade the U.S. Credit rating. I think you just had it back in the day when it was the S&P. Not two different credit agencies, two out of the three. All right, so it's very important that we start getting something to give us a sign of light here, or the market will start to price in. And we have earnings coming up as well around the corner. All right, so that's NVIDIA, right? What is my plan? If the data just continues, which we think, we're not getting good news tomorrow. If initial jobless claims is anything to tell us, I will look. I'm sure that this thing's already going to get sold off. I would look for a bounce, right? I got to be short. This is the only other area I would be short if the data's bad, and that's 441. I'd like to be short up here around the 50-day. That is the 50-day moving average, right? Yes, right here, this red box. All right, that's the 50-day moving average, not this one, this one. If I don't get that entry, okay, it pulls back. I want to wait for the bounces, right? And if I don't get a clear setup that I can get short on bad data at 441, 440.90, I don't take the trade. All right, I don't take the trade. It's as simple as that. All right, this is helping me get back on the horse. I just fallen off a little bit. It happens to everyone, right? You start trading and you just like fall off, right? You just don't stick to what you normally do. And where would we look to get to? Well, that's quite obvious, right? We look to get short. We're going to take profits along the way, but we want to get right there, right? Look at that. Resistance, support, rally. If we cannot break above that 50 and hold it, let's see if we pull it back down to that 433 sometime next week. May not do it in one day. If it does it in one day, shit is hitting the fan. You might want to think about where you're going to eat. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so we went through AMD, NVIDIA. If you guys have any, feel free to throw it in the chat. If you could, hit that like button for us. It would help us out a lot, and it would help other people find the stream that want to come out, hang out, go through charts, just go over the basics and talk stocks, go over charts, all that fun stuff. So thanks for the honor. If you do like and subscribe and even share it, we greatly appreciate it, right? This isn't just for me, it's for all of us. And if you guys have any questions, any charts, go ahead and throw them up. I still got to run through the list for Mike. And I said hi to Chris. I said hi to Collins. I hope my guys my day ones are doing good. So we went through AMD, NVIDIA, we went through Tesla, and again, they're all putting in the same pattern, guys. Tesla's the only one that broke out. And see if you start seeing that trend. We went through the basics already too, on what's leading and what's starting to lead and what's lagging. What sector that is, not what stock, but what sectors are leading and lagging. 50-day, 100-day, this price action is getting squished. Right? Tesla, AMD, Apple, NVIDIA, they're all the moving averages are closing in on it. Tesla's the only one that broke out. We could do Microsoft real quick, and then we'll look at Meta. I haven't looked at Meta in a while. Let's do that right now. Let's look at Meta. I was thinking Meta could have a nice bounce, but with what this market's been doing, it's going to be very hard, right? We need some type of good news. We need something here to give this market a break and give yields a break. They're just on a parabolic move. We haven't had it. And look at the indecision with Meta, right? If you've been trying to trade this, I hope you're just, buying the dip and selling that rip and just intraday pivot highs, shorten, getting long at the pivot lows because you're seeing what's going on here, right? It's just, it feels like it's going to make a move here. It feels like it's went from, whatever, 325 down to 275, back to 312. We're closing it in, right? 286, right? 310. We haven't broke down yet. 298. It's like it's getting there. Where's it going to go? Up or down? So Yeah, we went through a lot of good lessons today, I feel like. And it helps me, get back on track as well. Like just going back to the basics cuz again, I know I've been on repeat here and I'm sorry, but take notice. Take that psychological notice, right? Watching yourself from, day to week to week and see if you start changing up on yourself. And if your trading is affected or not, right? Are you not like coming in saying this is what I need to do? Like me, like I haven't measured a move in how long, guys? So, and we were measuring moves every day and bang, 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 right? Taking profits off left and right. Great. Everything's great, grand, and wonderful. Well, not coming back in and regrouping as it hasn't killed me, but I've had a couple small red days, right? And my red days are very manageable. I may lose more than I wanted to, but that doesn't mean it wasn't in my risk tolerance. Um, so let me remove this. So Meta is just sitting flat, and what's funny is like this reminds me a lot of Oxy, because I looked at this the other day and I made a joke, right? I made a joke about Oxy Petroleum, and I'm like, somebody better call Warren because his stock's flatlining right now. And look what happened literally the day after I said it. I swear to you guys, the day after I said it, look at this thing. It's just sitting flat, not doing nothing. I'm like, dude, this thing is dead. This thing's dead. Um, it was just funny, and then oil finally has its pullback. Like, look at that daily chart. What? So that support never held. I I don't know. It's just funny how some of that stuff works, right? And why am I going to Oxy? Because we've been saying since last week we felt a pullback coming. All right, so we did Meta. We'll do Microsoft. There's got to be a couple more that are stocks that are just your overall index stocks that aren't that don't have any news attributed to them. Rivian was such a great opportunity today. I'm so happy VD got to catch it. That's funny. I'm so happy the member in chat was able to get Rivian puts. I was setting up my screens and stuff for the stream and was like, Rivian was the top idea of the day. So we got oil, we got the solar sector, we had Rivian today. What could come out other than the data? So that's why I don't think we'll get like separate company news because we have such that data point tomorrow for the labor market that I'm going to be looking to just trade the overall markets. So if yields go higher tomorrow, if we get a bad data and we start to see yields, the 10-year, 30-year, start to shoot up, I'm going to be looking to get short tech stocks. And I want to look to possibly put on a long, let's go into it now. So here's Microsoft sitting in its range here. Pretty clear resistance up here at, I'm going to move that. Actually, I'm not because that's obviously there for a reason. It's closing right at it. But this is our range, right? So we sell the top. We sell the top and we buy the bottom, right? That's what we do here. Microsoft is the only one so far. Oh my goodness. That isn't in a wedge between the daily moving averages. But it is in a nice little channel here. That could be a bear flag, kind of, but I don't know what this is, right? That would be a nice bear flag and then break. That's a failed breakdown, possibly. Microsoft's probably going higher. Look at it holding that level, 319, right? This could be a long. We could write that down, which I'm going to go into it further, and we'll see. MSFT, possible long. We don't have much room, but even if you could get a test of that 50-day, that's a nice day. You could get it every bit of 75 to 120, if not 200%, if you get a nice move, right? What do we have here? 9 EMA. This green line is the 20-day moving average. It was resistance. Maybe that's where we head to again. All right. We know we have resistance at 322.05. So if we get a pullback or a gap down, it all depends on the data, right? Right now we're in the middle of the range. It's not smart to really do anything just yet. Just give me 1 second, guys. And again, I appreciate you guys joining. If you guys have any tickers, any questions, any comments, Even if you appreciate some of the stuff we're trying to do here, let us know. Let us know that you're here and alive and doing well. Um, Greatly appreciate you guys. So very clear support here at 315. So this is acting as resistance. It looked like it closed above it on the daily. It did close above it. Okay. But it's breaking down pre-market. All right. Doesn't surprise me. All right. 15-minute chart here. What would we do? Me personally, if the data comes out bad, I got to look for a bounce back into an area like depending on what we do tomorrow and how the data is, you want to look for a bounce back into the area that was resistance. It may not get you there, right? It may sell off, and you may have to take a bounce back and take like it would be hard. I don't really know what to give you. Maybe say I can't even. I want to say like previous. What do you do, right? Where do you short it? You probably can't. You got to wait. It's probably a no trade. Sometimes stocks aren't tradable, at least from a standpoint of, getting your entries and exits, right? Clearly, that was a short, right? And then what'd you do? You if you waited, right? You sat in it, you have this reverse head and shoulders here. There's your neckline, right? You get to it, you pull back, you gap above it. You pulled back into it, okay? You pulled back into it. And what happened? Right here, you pulled back into it right there. You didn't quite get to it, but you did. You got to that little pivot high. And you waited until it got back down to the neckline to go long. Once you seen it hold, you came in. You had to wait a little bit, but it eventually took you back up to the top side of the range, right? You just want to wait to buy the areas you need to buy that are support, especially when you have support, resistance, gap above, pull back, and you see it hold, right? And then you get a closing volume that looks like that. Like, you get the volume to support it. Okay, we know we want to look to be long down here at 315. If it doesn't give it to us and it just goes without us, guess what? No trade. Maybe we wait for the short up at 321. And that's what happened there. Look, they waited. Bang. Okay, so find the ranges, right? Know what the sentiment is. This stuff's so important; it'll make or break your, your trading. What other stocks you guys got for me? Like, what's Roku been doing, right? What's Roku been doing? Look at all those lines I have. This thing has just been gotten murdered. Holy cow! Holy crap! Holy cow! That's a pretty clear daily double top. We traded it that day, guys. If you don't know, we trade live right here on YouTube, Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4. We cover the news. We decide what we're trading for the day. We all work together, and we manage risk and make money second, right? If I have a question, the chat's right there, man. I'm here for you guys as much as you guys are here for me, and I greatly appreciate it. I mean, the stream's free 99. I need to do a better job at things without talking so much, and getting on with the show, and I will. I promise. So that's why the like and subscribe and even commenting that it does go far. I never want to charge you guys for this stuff, right? If you want one-on-one help, you can email me. My email is in the description. We can work together and try and help get you back on the right track. All right, so we have a pretty clear support level here on Roku. I don't think there's a reason to trade Roku because it doesn't really have news. You could find that you could break through this 100-day moving average. You could find a trade like a 2-day, maybe like 2.5, 3 days. You get back up to that 75 level if you can't break down further. Major support here, right? This is a major level for support. Sorry, it's up here. That's $65. We'll call it 65. Okay. And it's trying to turn itself around, but has no juice. This thing's weak, so it's not something I'd really look at. So if yields do go higher tomorrow, we could look at like Snow. I want to look at some Dow names because the Dow did close green today, right? If you don't know that. I haven't traded this. There's another stock that I do like is the Trade Desk. That's more of like a long-term stock that I'm kind of hoping to get a better price and buy more for my long term. Um, I do like them. Oh shit, and Google too. So Snow's just sitting here below the 200 day. Um, I'm actually curious to know if this thing's going to head lower because that's a really nice bear flag. This thing's got a really nice bear flag going on. It's a bit oversold. Uh, Volume is very low. I'm not fooling with that. All right, let's go to Google, and I'm going to go into like some down names like JP Morgan, UNH, some other stocks. And if you guys have some, throw them in the chat. All right, so Google, there's a daily. You're above the 50-day. This could be a fresh lower high. It just very well could be. Pretty clear resistance at that 100-day moving average, right? Pretty clear that 50-day is support. But where's the resistance? That's my question. Because now we're holding this level up at 135.75, 135, or yeah, 135.96, right? So 136 was the number I was looking for. I wouldn't really call that. I guess it's support. I'd call this the support area. Breaks above it, pulls into it. Right? 1 wick, 2 wick, 3 wick, 4. There was no 4. I just said it because it rhymed. Let's go to a 15-minute chart. The volume on this thing hasn't been too bad. I know a couple members in chat were trading this. Oh shit, I could look at like Adobe, and we looked at AMD and Nvidia and stuff. So, all right, let's see here. Let's go to a 15-minute or 30-minute chart real quick. I want to see if we make this area resistance again. Right, I want to see if we make... I want to see us get up here for me to take the short. 137.70-ish. They call it 138 area. It's just not a good setup, guys. It does look like it's trying to roll back over. Maybe, see, you did turn this into support. So what I'm looking at, right, we broke down resistance, and you pull it back down, and then somehow it picks itself back up, right? What's it doing on the way up, right? It's going higher than the level. It breaks through the level, goes higher. That way, when it pulls back, it should hold, right? Goes up higher to pull back to do what? Hold that prior resistance level as support. Tries to go, can't. And then what's it do? It just breaks the level, gets right back down to where we're buying it. Bada bing, bada boom. And look, it's holding this, so we'd look for this thing to get higher. I would. I'm getting a little bit tired, so I do apologize. There was another stock I had in my mind, and I forgot what it was. Damn it. So you got to clear 1, 2, 3, call it 4, but a triple top at 139.50. I'd like to see if it holds, and you cannot get above 137. All right, 137 would be the area I would look to get short. That's about all I have, guys. We went through Google. We went through a lot of names. I just wanted to stress that. If you haven't done so, hit that like button. Come join us in the morning, guys. You would have had a stock this morning that went down 28% on the stock alone to get short. Member in chat took it. Right? That was our #1 watch list today. So far you got solar stocks. You had Rivian. You had oil pulling back. What else is there? You had the Google news. Not news, but their showcase of the Pixels phone. I'm trying to think if there was any like stock or like any setup that I had seen. I know Carvana's been getting a little bit of talk, and I told members in chat that it could take a while for it to play out, and then it would just die out very slowly, and it looks like it's just been dying out. Looks like it's just dying out. And that's okay. Oh, JP Morgan real quick, guys. So JP Morgan, and then we will look at Wow. We'll look at like UNH and Home Depot, and we'll get out of here because I got to get some sleep. It's so late. It's 11:30 right now. Yeah, J.P. Morgan. Let's look for a short on that. If the Dow, see if the Dow goes green, we got to watch. All right, we got to watch. We may have. Remember how I said it pulls past the support and resistance zone, like I can't explain it. I can't explain it though. Look here, right? Look here. So what do we have? You have resistance, resistance, support, 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 bounces, pulls back to it, support, and then breaks it. Okay, that's fine. Pulls back up. Um, Damn, I forgot what I was gonna say. I know. Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. Because I'm getting tired, and I'm sorry. There's just a very clear thing that's going on here. Oh, right here, right there. See if it starts to turn that into resistance and we get short. All right, see if we can get short. And that level is going to be, or that if it can't break above it, 143.50. If you do break it and get above it, look for it to hold as support and take it to the top end of that range. And you have the 50-day waiting for you up there. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I might sound crazy. I feel like I'm talking crazy. Because look, right? Support, you have this resistance level, resistance, right? You break it, pull back, support, support, support. It breaks. It's turning it into resistance. Pull it back. Just pull it back. That's all I'm expecting for JP Morgan right now is to pull back off of that level. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm pooped. If you guys don't have any questions, if you guys have questions real quick or anything, I'll see you guys bright and early in the morning. We'll see where we're at. We'll read the data. We'll see what news we have. We'll get our game plans on. Right? We'll see what direction we want to take in accordance of what's going on. Right? We have the data. Huge data tomorrow, man. I feel like this non-farm payroll and unemployment is much bigger than CPI and PPI and PCE. We know where that's at year over year. It's down month over month. It's down also. Yeah, unless you get a crazy big surprise like we got on the ADP report, chances are we'll just get a bit of volatility. Unless it's a good number, then the Fed might not be higher for longer. Or it helps the case, I should say. It helps the case to say, hey, we're starting to see that change. We don't need to add more rate hikes or we don't have to think about holding them until next year up at this level because they want to get ahead of it, right? They don't want to just jack rates until unemployment starts going up. You'll be screwed. And again, just knowing the interest rates, right? If you're a person that has that 12-month cycle, then you should know, go back 12 months, where was Fed funds rate? Where is it now? Okay, I got 2.5 yield. I got 2.5% yet to filter through the system. If you're an 18 monther, okay, you might have 3.5%, 3%, to 3.5% yields coming down the pipe. So yeah, that's all I have. I'm tired, guys. You guys have a great night. Thank you for being with us. If you guys could, leave a like, comment, subscribe. We do this stuff for free 99. We don't charge thousands of dollars. But more importantly, we don't blow your phones up and bug you. We're just here to manage risk and make some money, show you guys some opportunity. Quick takeaway of tonight was getting back on track and focusing in the morning. 2, look for the Dow to start leading, IWM and Dow to start leading to the upside and the Qs to start lagging. By going over the game plan that I gave you, you'll be able to know that going into tomorrow, and you know it now. Right? That's why it's so important. Dollar, VIX, yields, markets. And then you find out your news, and does the market direction that you think help the news that you're playing? Does it, does it help give it that push to go long or go short and give you that nice momentum? I love you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe. Leave me some type of comment, good or bad. Tell me this thing was gay or tell me it was great. Keep it up. Some things I could do better. Whatever would help. You guys have a great night. I'll see you guys early in the morning at 7:30. Let's get ready to kill tomorrow. I'm telling you, get your sleep. Tomorrow is going to be a big day. I'll see you guys right here. Ivy League Trading, YouTube.com. We trade live right here, 7:30 to 4. See you guys in the morning. Guys, have a great night.